You have performed a biological sacrifice on the altar of the banking cartels by signing a document that literally translates from Old French as a death pledge. The credit lobotomy is the surgical removal of your strategic mobility and your masculine risk tolerance in exchange for a suburban life support pod that the global server has successfully rebranded as the American dream. You are not a homeowner, you are a high-stakes tenant with a 30-year liability that functions as a lead weight on your soul. A mortgage is a predatory algorithm designed to keep you stationary, taxable, and obedient during the most productive decades of your life force. When you sign that contract, you're not buying an asset. You are selling your freedom of movement and your ability to pivot in the resource war. You're betting that the next 30 years will be stable enough for you to keep grinding. But stability is a lie sold to the herd to keep them grazing in the same field. The sovereign architect realizes that a mortgage is a tether to a specific geographic coordinate that could become a dead zone at any moment. By locking yourself into a zip code, you have forfeited your right to follow the money, to follow the freedom, and to follow the future. You are a hostage to a pile of bricks that you don't even own until the final cent of interest, the pound of flesh, is extracted. Until that day, the bank is the master, and you are the property manager of their investment. You pay for the roof, you pay for the taxes, you pay for the insurance, and if you stop for a single month, the mask falls off and the state reminds you who really owns the dirt. You have lobotomized your own ambition by creating a monthly burn rate that forces you to stay in the safe job and say yes to the tyrant boss. You cannot tell the world to go to hell when you have a $3,000 monthly payment due to a predator that never sleeps. You have traded your fangs for a lawnmower and you call it equity. Equity is a psychological sedative. It is locked energy that you cannot eat and you cannot spend without asking for more debt. It is a hallucination of wealth while your actual cash flow is being siphoned off to build the skyscrapers of the people who sold you the dream. You are financing their private jets with your overtime hours. You are the carbon they are reducing. The lobotomy is complete when you start arguing with other slaves about whose neighborhood is appreciating faster while you are both drowning in the same sea of amortization. You are a biological battery for a system that wants you stationary so it can tax your existence and regulate your behavior. The mortgage is the ultimate behavioral dampener. It makes you a good citizen, which is code for a compliant servant. You stop taking risks because you have a family in a house that belongs to a bank. You stop questioning the narrative because you are terrified of the payment panic. You have been domesticated. You have been neutered by a 30-year fixed rate. The architect sees the house for what it is, a static trap in a dynamic world. If you cannot fit your life in 2 bags and move to a new country in 48 hours, you are not free. You are a prisoner of the brick. You are a victim of the credit lobotomy. The mechanical reality of the death pledge is a mathematical atrocity designed to ensure that you pay for the house 3 times over before you ever see the title. In the first 10 years of a mortgage, your payments are almost entirely interest, pure profit for the lender, while the principal barely moves. You are paying for the privilege of being a debt hostage. The tax benefits they sell you are a pathetic bribe to keep you in the cage. They are cents on the dollar compared to the massive interest load you are carrying. This is the financial equivalent of a lobotomy because it removes your ability to see the opportunity cost of your capital. If that down payment and that monthly surplus were deployed into the vector layer of the market, into high-yield assets, into your own business, into the acquisition of liquid power, you would be a sovereign king within a decade. Instead, you have buried your seed in a dead piece of land that grows nothing but grass and property tax liabilities. You are a victim of the home as an investment psyop. A primary residence is not an investment. It is a consumption item that eats money. It demands maintenance. It demands insurance. It demands utilities. And it demands your constant attention. It is a child that never grows up and never leaves the house. By the time you own it, the house is obsolete. The neighborhood has shifted and you are too old to enjoy the freedom you finally bought back. You have spent your youth maintaining a box for your old age, only to realize that the box is now a tomb. The sovereign architect rents the box and owns the factory. He maintains his liquidity so he can strike when the market bleeds. He keeps his geographic kill switch active. He does not fall in love with walls. He falls in love with the mission. The lobotomized man is emotionally attached to the memories in the house, which is just a neurochemical trick to make him comfortable in his cage. The memory of a debt-free life is far more valuable than the memory of a kitchen renovation. You must wake up to the reality that the bank is not your partner. It is your owner. Every month you send that check, you are acknowledging your status as a subordinate node in the financial grid. You are a line item on a balance sheet in a skyscraper you aren't allowed to enter. Break the spell. Realize that the dream was a script written by the people who profit from your stationary nature. You are a nomadic predator by biological design. The house is the cage they used to catch you. Reclaim your mobility. Reclaim your risk. Reclaim the prime years of your life before the lobotomy becomes permanent and you forget what it felt like to be a wolf in the wild. Tactical execution of the hostage extraction begins with a brutal psychological purge of the homeowner identity and its replacement with the cold, calculating eyes of a strategic tenant in a war zone. The first move is a total amortization audit where you print out the 360-month schedule and highlight the exact amount of your life force that is being siphoned off as pure interest to the banking cartel. You must look at the red ink until the pain of the theft outweighs the comfort of the walls. This is the only way to reverse the lobotomy. Once you see the theft, you must activate the asset decoupling protocol. You stop treating the house as a sanctuary and start treating it as a strategic liability on a battlefield. If the local economy is stagnating or the social sludge is rising in your zip code, you do not wait it out while your net worth bleeds out. You liquidate, you sell the cage, and you revert to a high mobility posture. You move into a lean rental that is located near a high growth vector. The freedom of the month-to-month lease is your primary weapon. It allows you to move your center of gravity to the money while your competitors are still negotiating their school districts. If selling is not an option, you must perform a commercial conversion. You move out of the master bedroom and move in a high-yield tenant. You turn the death pledge into a revenue stream. You force the house to pay for its own existence. Your goal is to reach zero-base housing, where your cost of existence is effectively erased by the labor of others. This restores the RAM of your brain. It frees up the cognitive bandwidth that was previously occupied by the payment panic. A man who lives for free is the most dangerous player in the resource war because he has no burn rate. He can wait longer, strike harder, and take risks that would bankrupt a family man in a mortgage pod. The second tactical move is the geographic kill switch implementation. You must maintain a liquid shadow of capital that is equal to or greater than your equity in the house, and this capital must be held in quantum-resistant assets that the local state cannot freeze. You are betting against the coordinate. You are preparing for the moment when the dream becomes a nightmare. Economic collapse, civil unrest, or a climate weapon strike. If the neighborhood turns into a war zone, the lobotomized man will stay to protect his investment and die with his bricks. The sovereign architect will walk away from the property without a backward glance because his true wealth is his skills and his liquid reserve. You must cultivate a nomadic detachment from physical things. You do not own the house. The house is just a temporary base of operations. You keep your go bag packed and your exit routes mapped. This psychological mobility is the counter agent to the credit lobotomy. It prevents the system from using your house as a leash, pull you into compliance. When the bureaucrats demand your obedience, you can say no because you aren't afraid of the bank's foreclosure department. You have already mentally foreclosed on them. You are already gone. You must also master the analog sovereignty of your perimeter if you choose to occupy a fixed coordinate. If you are paying for land, that land must be more than a place to park your leased BMW. It must be a tactical redoubt. You replace the grass with food. You replace the fence with security. You install the energy independence grid. You turn the liability into a fortress that can survive the collapse of the global server. If your home requires a functioning supply chain and a municipal power grid to keep you alive, you are not a homeowner. You are a life support patient. Real sovereignty is the ability to maintain your core temperature and your caloric intake without the permission of the utility company. This turns the death pledge into a life support system. You stop being a consumer of the city and start being a producer of your own reality. This shift in posture completes the reversal of the lobotomy. You are no longer thinking about property values, which are just a consensus hallucination of the herd. You are thinking about survivability metrics, which are a reality of the physical world. Finally, you must implement the compound interest reverse strike. Every dollar you save by avoiding the upgrade trap or by paying down the principal early is a dollar that you immediately deploy into the acquisition of producer assets. You do not relax when you have extra cash. You do not buy a bigger TV for the box. You buy a piece of the machine that makes the TV. You are shifting from the interest payer caste to the capital owner caste. You are using the system's own math to dismantle your chains. You watch your net worth velocity like a hawk. If the house is dragging that velocity down, you cut it loose. If the house is serving as a stable base for your high-octane business activity, you keep it, but you never, ever let it become your identity. You are not the man in the big house. You are the architect of the sovereign future. The house is just the place where you sleep between missions. The lobotomy is cured when you look at your mortgage statement and feel a cold surgical desire to eliminate the link, rather than a warm, fuzzy feeling of stability. Stability is a trap. Stability is the grave. The sovereign architect chooses the storm of the hunt over the safety of the cage every single time. Reclaim your brain. Reclaim your legs. Reclaim the hunt.
Listen careful, a mortgage is in the bridge. It's a home, it's a 30-year lobotomy for your freedom. It's a downtown, the bricks is a bank out your life, your time and this your soul. The salt and your dream keep you the tea traits. Stop playing for your cage living, break the cycle. Reclaim your future before the debt buries your life. This oxy stay dangerous.